It's a great pleasure to introduce Christian Scotland-Williamson, who has had a career in rugby and in the NFL and is also now about to reach the bar in his law degree. And Christian, it's a big joy to welcome you here to Elton College today, who's going to be speaking to our high-performance athletes in the next coming minutes. A career in rugby and NFL, how did that come about?
Yeah, extremely rare. So I was never in an academy or played county rugby, and then went to Loughborough University in my final year, had an opportunity to play for Worcester Warriors and then signed professionally with them. And then fortunately made a large tackle in the Premiership, which went viral, and then the NFL came calling. So that's how that came up.
The wonders of YouTube, hey?
Yeah.
Which is great. And what was it like changing the culture from English rugby to American NFL?
It was definitely an adjustment. You think that America is far more similar than it is, but especially in team environments and the entity that is American football and what it means in America, it was a shock to the system, but it was something that I was able to get used to.
Amazing. And dual sports, crossover sports. We have so many students here at Elton College who play multiple sports. What advice would you give to them about continuing with all their sports as opposed to just focusing on one?
I'm a huge advocate for a broad base of sport because transitioning to American football at the highest level, the only reason why I was able to do it successfully was because I had a martial arts background, swimming, basketball, football, rugby, and that really underpinned my broad skill set. That meant that transitioning to another sport, I had the dexterity and the skills from other sports which I was able to draw on in that arena.
And you've already touched on the fact that you've got a law degree, and you fitted all that in around the playing career as well. What advice would you give to our students about fitting in their academic work and a high-performance sporting background as well?
There's always resistance where people think you can't have a plan B and don't focus on it, but I believe that if you have to be disciplined in one area of your life, you can be disciplined in all areas. So it was easier for me knowing that I wasn't going out, I wasn't drinking, to then replace those things with study and being able to transform my life off of the field by going back and studying for a master's degree and then another master's degree in law. And the only reason I was able to do that was because I had the habits and the foundation of discipline that I took from my playing career and applied it in my academics.
And talking of discipline, you've had some pretty serious injury setbacks, right? How do you bounce back from a broken back?
It's a long process. I spent 726 days between games where I had to teach myself how to walk again before I could then learn to jog, before I could then learn to run, to even think about taking a tackle and getting back on the field in the Premiership. So it was a long and tumultuous process that was underpinned by going back to university to have an anchoring discipline away from sport, where I was able to channel some of my frustrations into something that was going to support me later on in life. But ultimately, it's perseverance, the discipline involved in doing your rehab every single day, developing those routines on a daily basis, that it may not be paying off now and there may not be a visible, tangible benefit, but over the course of what was 2 years, ultimately I was able to reap the rewards.
Incredible. An Englishman in the NFL, how does that work?
Well, apart from people mocking your accent every day, which is all good fun, it's a rarity, it really is, and you get put into an environment where people may never have met an English person before because they're from rural parts of America and have only ever been involved in football and that football bubble. So in terms of a cross-cultural experience, it was really fascinating and eye-opening, where now I come back and I'm back in America. It's fun. Back in England.
Yeah, of course. And your time in America has meant that you've learned a lot about the game, and exciting week coming up with the Super Bowl.
Most definitely. So I've had the good fortune of broadcasting for TalkSport and now the BBC, where I'll be doing the live coverage for 5 Live at the Super Bowl. So I'll be flying to Arizona next week. And it's an extra special opportunity because another rugby player who made the transition to American football, one of my best friends, Jordan, will be playing in that game for the Philadelphia Eagles. So it's an absolute honour to be able to call that game.
You're going to be able to say mate?
Oh, 100% I'll be saying mate. It's very funny because both of us were on a crusade to kind of get people to understand English and Australian culture, because people used to ask me, oh, do you drink tea every single day? Is that what's in your water bottle? And very peculiar things like that. So it's a cultural experience and something that I will definitely be translating on the microphone.
Amazing. 29 years old, retired from professional sports. Any regrets?
I've reframed it from retired to stop playing because life hasn't stopped. So I'm on to my new chapter now. I'm turning the page And no regrets from my playing career. There were frustrations initially from objectively not reaching the highest heights that I wanted to, even though I've had a very successful career. There was still, as every athlete probably feels, there was more meat on the bone. But now, channeling that energy and that drive and that competitive fire within me to my career as a barrister, hopefully I'll be called to the bar as long as everything goes well in July, and that in itself is a new challenge and one worthy of my best effort.
And the important thing that you touched on earlier was that you were able to call time on your playing career on your own terms.
Yes, which is, I think, psychologically one of the most important things that I was able to do, because when I left America, I had to have 4 surgeries. I was unable to walk some days more than 500 meters, and to have my career possibly end like that, I think that would have stuck with me for the rest of my life. And I had the good fortune of being able to return to rugby and play for a prestigious club that was Harlequins, and then come to the end of that year and decide for myself that I didn't want to play anymore.
Amazing. And through your playing career, if you had one message to pass on to our students, one saying, what would that be?
Maintain a high standard. Maintain a standard of performance and expectation that you have to live by and you hold yourself to, because ultimately that's what's going to carry the distance.
Christian, thank you so much.
Cheers.